Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. It is I, Digi Driver, welcoming you to your Sunday, December 11th, 2022. And we are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator for our continuing adventures in MSFS Scenery Dev. Hope that you are having a very good Sunday today. Maybe it's Monday in your part of the world. In that case, it would probably be very early in the morning. And good morning to you. Or it's still evening, although I kind of doubt that. I think everything's morning today or morning tomorrow. But here I go, digressing already, and we're not even a minute into the stream. Hopefully, you're doing very well today. I am back. Like I mentioned yesterday, I had been away for a little over a week, actually, a little bit less than a week, on a family trip. And now I'm trying to get back into the swing of things before this year is out and looking ahead to what 2023 might bring, Lord willing. Good afternoon, everybody. And before I get into scenery deving today, I wanted to take a few moments to, of course, thank some folks for their patronage. Yesterday we had good friends like Captain Custard and Pavlin stop by and say hello. Captain Custard followed me. Pavlin stopped in and cheered 20 bits. And we also had some follows from Skydiver OB137 and Peter Coffee. Peter Coffee? Peter Coffle? Peter looks like Peter Coffee 191056. But all the same, thank you so much for stopping by and saying hello. And speaking of stopping by and saying hello, our good friend Arrow Flyers in the chat. Good morning to you, my friend. Welcome. And Wigglyfin, thank you for stopping by and saying hi. We are about to jump into some scenery dev. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the world editor, and we're going to go back to Plymouth Municipal Airport to continue what I'm trying to accomplish. And I already figured it out. I already forgot where it was. The past few streams, I think I've been doing almost exclusively in X-Plane 12, so it's kind of nice to jump back into this sim for a little bit and continue my scenery dev. I was trying to get this done before I actually went away for my trip, but unfortunately it couldn't happen. We are probably going to be focusing on either some Blender work today or some placement of some supporting assets, fence, things like that. But let's jump in. Yeah, and from the eastern portion, the mid-Atlantic portion of the U.S., greetings once again. The temperature is cold. It snowed a little this morning. It's probably raining right now. It's a good day for soup, hot coffee or hot chocolate, and some flight simming. Especially if you're looking for inclement weather. There's probably going to be a few places up and down the East Coast to go to. We are back at the default Plymouth Municipal Airport. And I'm going to go ahead and load. Well, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to open up developer mode. Let's change that, shall we? There we go. Apply and save. Go back, resume. We're going to open up the project editor, and I'm going to keep this running because we're going to do the same kind of fast forward scenery development that we've been doing for the past several streams that we've been here. The mission today is to try to load at least one hangar in here. At least one. We'll see whether or not it works. And this is it. For those of you that have not been following the series, after seeing a friend of mine fly into and out of Plymouth Municipal Airport in Massachusetts, I took a look at the stock scenery and said, you know what, this could be better. So I am working on a new copy of this for my friend and for the community at large. This is probably going to be another payware release that I'm going to do. And the price will be reasonable since, again, this is one of my first releases. The very first one I had was Whiskey 904, a private airport in Virginia. But one of the things this airport was missing was lots and lots of start positions. Right now, I think we're somewhere just over 100, and that's all of these circle things that exist here, where you can choose a start position and take off. Well, not take off, but basically get your plane started from there. Also, I might do some start position testing because these runways should have start positions well defined. Where this airport I think was missing was this piece right here. Because in the sim, the taxiway actually connects at the base of this runway, and you'll see I did a little bit of texture work to cover up the satellite imagery. Also, these lines will be gone once I basically pave over them with material. And then we extended the taxiway all the way to the back where the run-up section is, where this taxiway also meets, and there you go. Today, I'm probably going to create a very basic hangar prototype, which is going to be replicated for, I guess, probably probably these three hangars right here. If I get rid of these default hangars, I'll probably see what the satellite imagery looks like and get a basic idea. It's going to be better than stock. I'm going to try to make it better than stock, but even the stock buildings have, windows, good looking doors, lights that aren't lit all the time. It's going to be a bit of a task, and it's not going to be something I'm going to figure out how to do in one stream, but the replacement hangar will have interiors for any hangars that are actually open. And the hangars are not going to be slide out like the ones that you see. I'm going to create the hangars so the doors basically double up as they go vertically. So not much left to do but to do it. And the last time I was here, I created some storage containers for people that were actually storing things inside. These don't have interiors to save on rendering. These are just containers that people would theoretically put their airplane parts or on airport supplies into. And there's another one out here. And as you notice, I've put cars in most spots where the satellite cars were parked. And also, we have signage. I'm going to have to adjust this sign though because it looks like it's just stuck inside the fence. I don't want that. So we're going to adjust that really quickly for fun. There we go. And just like that, just so you can see it and not have to squeak through the gate to see it. Also, I created this sign as well, although I might remake it at some point in the future because the really skinny lines are very difficult to see the moment you get far away from it. IRL, you'd probably see this a lot more clearly. Then you have some of the standard airport signage. My good friend Eric Flight gave me a picture of this, I think, Massachusetts seal for the actual signage. And then we have some things like signage for Yankee Aviation, Alpha One, and things like that, which I saw in pictures. Thank you, my friend. There's much more to be done, so I'm not going to waste too much more time. And as you can tell, I already began laying out a prototype for what the additional hangar building would be like here. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this. I'm probably going to get rid of this rectangle, this stretched out cube because it doesn't have separate walls, and if the light shines on it, I think the light bleeds through it all too easily, as you can tell. This was just something I think I did for illustration purposes. But let's go ahead and get a little bit of background music going and just settle in. I've got more than a few hours, I think, well, probably a couple at least, before I get into the rest of the week, and of course my return to work this coming week. So let me go ahead, set up the music in the background, and off we go. You'll probably hear it in a bit. Here's the link in case you want to go check it out online. And this is the title that you're going to see when the music plays. I like having this music in particular in the background. This is something which I believe is indeed copyright free. And actually, let me just make sure. I've been able to use it, but if these folks want me to stop playing it, I'll gladly make sure that I'm doing them a service. But also, feel free to check out the video. This is Bloom, Blume, and they've got other channels available online as well, plus a Patreon, so I might have to start supporting them as well. All right, so with that said, let me fire up Blender and let's see where we left off. I'm probably going to design a hanger of some kind today and see if I can put it in the sim. I'll probably also be doing a bit of a blitz session, like I said before, for the sake of being able to create something which can be replicated very well. So you should be looking at Blender now. You are. That's great. Let's go ahead and start getting busy. Easiest thing I'm going to do first is save it, and we're going to create a basic hanger type. Let me see what I can call this. We've got 3 hangers here, so I'll probably do something like hanger type 1. That's pretty cool. If anybody's flying around the Massachusetts area right now in the sim, the weather is beginning to lightly flurry. That's pretty cool. So I'm probably going to call this hanger type 1 to get started. KP, come on, there we go. KPYM hanger type 1. Oh, I need to create a folder first. Silly Digi KPYM hanger type 1. And we're going to go into this and we're going to say hanger type 1 dot blend. Off we go. All right. Let me increase my volume a little bit. I want to hear the background music. Is it even playing? Is the volume too low? There we go. Much better. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you, friend. All right. So we've got the basic prototype. Easiest thing to do is to make sure the basic placement looks good. So we'll select it, choose the item, change the Z location to be 1 meter so it sits right on the floor, and then we're going to save this, export it, and I think what I need to do is save it, move it to the directory, do a build, which then includes it and allows me to actually use it. So we select everything, we save it, we do export, and let me go through all the options here. Apply modifiers, include selected objects, and we're going to generate the XML file. KPYM hanger type 1.xml. We'll generate a GUID, a GUID. And the textures don't exist yet, but they will be in a folder called texture, which currently I think has something. We'll clear it just to be safe. A lot of administrative stuff going on at the moment, folks. I'm sorry, but I should be able to get this done shortly. Blend and blend one is probably the temporary file. Yeah, so there we go. We'll get rid of the metal for now. I'll probably use that shortly. Actually, you want to know what? If I'm going to use that, let's just keep that there. That's fine. I have now exported my data. What you don't see is me getting ready to move the files, and that's fine. That's by design. Bin, GLTF, and XML files. Actually, the easiest thing for me to do is to simply... No. I'm going to copy the files that I want. Make it easy on yourself, Digi. Okay, we're going to go to the Plymouth folder, package sources, scenery, model lib, and we're going to create a new folder called KPYM Hanger Type 1. I've copied the files in, but they're not going to show up in my area unless I actually choose the build all option. So save my scenery, click build all. You don't see anything at the moment because I am running it in MSFS because I have Blender on. Yeah, I like music like this when I do scenery dev because it just kind of keeps the atmosphere really chill. Okay, the build finished, and now I should be able to actually place the cube in. So I'll show you guys what it looks like. Spoiler alert, it's just a cube. Give me a bit. Okay, great. I need to actually do this. And we are going to place the cube right where I am. Here is my Plymouth folder. And now we have hanger type 1. We're going to add it, and bam, there's the cube. It is small and unassuming, which is fine. I'm probably going to build this to the current hanger specs. So I'm not going to worry about precise measurements. I don't know how big this hanger is anyway, but I'm going to visually match it to what we see. And then we're going to try to actually do something cool with it. But first thing we're going to do is probably create a hanger floor, because I don't want this just setting on the ungroomed satellite imagery. Sky Command, good afternoon, sir. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. We're doing a scenery dev stream today. And if you're in a cold part of the country, feel free to grab yourself a mug of hot cocoa or coffee or tea and just chill with us today. God bless you and your family. Welcome. We just got started doing some hanger design today. I'll probably try to prototype one very basic hanger with an interior, and we'll see what we can do to actually, I don't know, put a few things in it. And so shall it be, etc., etc., etc. Thank you. All right. Like I said, we literally just got started. So here we go. What can I do next? I can put my Blender view back on. That would work. Bam. Okay, so going forward, I'm going to be swapping back and forth between these views a lot, because essentially I'm going to be making changes to the design here and then essentially making it show up in the other view. I won't be swapping back and forth that much, but you will see the changes happen. I'm going to make the floor be just barely three-dimensional. And of course, I'll take the vegetation away. So you're going to see like grass or like rocks bleed through this until you don't anymore. But let me do something. No, you know what? No. We're going to keep this the way that I'm doing it right now, because I'm going to not worry about floor thickness with this. This is simply a kind of cover for the ground. That is a pretty thin slab. I don't think it's going to get much flatter than that. I think that's good. Okay, so how big is this? How big? It's at an angle, so I'm going to adjust the rotation of this object. And I'm going to place it flush against the hanger so that it will be horizontally aligned. This is basically my way of just cheating to make sure that things are properly aligned. I could also use a satellite imagery as well. I'm not going for like ultra supremo, permanently forever precise. Like, there's going to be a little bit of give and just, for lack of a better phrase, a little bit of human error in this, or a lot of bit of human error, but that's fine. Which reminds me, I need to exclude this default building. And since I have these buildings as comparison, I won't need to worry about keeping this open. So we're going to open up a polygon, make a new polygon, and we're going to create something which is going to exclude the built-in building here. We will call this hanger exclusion poly. Oh, there we go. Default hanger exclusion poly 2. And then we will do buildings, exclude all. That's gone, and now you can see that the building satellite imagery is there. This is going to be more for my reference than anything. And we will move this to a custom assets folder. Bam. Okay, now, instead of me trying to scale it in the sim, I will do my best inside of Blender to get this working. Okay, so back to Blender, and what are we going to do? We will take this and we will simply stretch it out. I probably should have stretched it out before I flattened it like a pancake, but it's okay, because I can do that. Okay. Stretch it out to about here, save, render, and we're going to see what this looks like. The cool thing about rendering with Blender when you have the object placed is that it actually seems to save and allow you to rapidly prototype as you go. So I'll show you what I mean. So pay attention to the cube at the bottom of the hanger satellite image. You saw me stretch this before. We've just finished saving it. I'm going to go ahead and copy the files over and dump them in my build folder. And just like that, blammo. I probably should have gone the other way though, so I don't want to just like rotate and mess up my angles here. So let me do that real quick. Okay. Literally about 30 seconds later, grab that side, come on. Ooh, the face is a little bit hard to get a hold of. There we go, got it. All right, so sit tight, folks. I'm going to go ahead and stretch this out right now. We'll go for an even bigger stretch here. And that might actually work. Grab the same files again, paste them again, and oh, okay, I got it. It's kind of in the ground, so you're not going to see this very well. Also, it could be a function of a natural slope. So I got to do a few things. First off, I see how low the slab is. There is some slope to this, so I might have to do a local flatten, but I'll lift it off the ground just a little bit so that I can see how this actually, you know, looks or works. Okay, I can see I'm going to have to flatten the ground a bit, but I can also see that my stretch worked. First thing I'm going to do is just make sure that I can actually take this all the way to the edge of the hangar building dimensions, and then we'll work on flattening this. All right. So it's about, what is it, about one, two, it's about 3 times as long as this. So let me start. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. Scenery development is interesting. It's like sometimes tedious and boring, but when you figure out what to do and you start doing it, it becomes kind of like putting a puzzle together. All right, let's lift this up a little bit more. Okay. All right. It is off the ground, truly, but I'm not worried about dimensions extremely that much. I'm going to bring it back in, shrink it by maybe, I don't know, a tenth, a twelfth. Like I said, dimensions are like measurements are optional here. I'm simply going to I'm simply going to bring it back slowly, and we're going to test and see. When I got started, I was making measurements and doing things like that and just doing everything inside Blender before I exported anything to the sim. And I decided to actually start doing it this way because I don't know, like I like seeing progress more quickly. It works for me. For some people, they have to absolutely know that the dimensions are actually correct. Some folks are fine with just guessing. My build style is reminiscent of the old, creep and save method from computer games back in like the mid to late 90s, where like you move a little bit and you save. You move a little bit and you save. Okay, almost. We're literally just about there in terms of dimensions. That's fine. Export. And if we're anywhere even close to the edge, I'm going to call the floor done. Well, the the length of the hanger floor done. Did I copy the right files? I should have. Beautiful. Mm, how far does this go back? Okay. Okay, chat. I think that's good enough for me for now. Let's go ahead and stretch this out so that it runs the width of the hanger itself. So now we're looking at width. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to stretch it on the y-axis. Oh, no, that's location. I'm sorry. We need this stretched out. So let's go for a 1, 2, 3. I think like a quadruple stretch should be fine. So let's try 8 meters. Save it, and we'll see how close we are to actually getting this right the first time. We probably won't, but that's okay. Okay, so it is not 8 meters wide. It's more like, what was that? 12 meters wide, 14 meters wide. Let's try 13 meters and let's see what it looks like. It's probably too much. Let's find out. Same thing like before. Copy the files over. Ooh, almost. So like maybe 15 meters should do it. Okay. That might be too much. We'll find out right now. Hmm. Actually, that might be spot on. We're pretty close. We're pretty close, gang. Okay, let's do 16 because I like nice round numbers. And let's save it, export it, and then I think we got the floor done for this. All right. It is off the ground because of the unflattened area around it. And it's a bit, it's just like a touch. Actually, no, this is actually pretty good. We'll call the floor build. I just need to snap this to the ground, I think, and then flatten the terrain around it. So, let's do this. Let me choose let me choose the polygon. Terraforming. Terraforming, fall off distance, literally 5 meters. Okay, about 0. Why in the world did this suddenly do this? It's pretty cool, but at the same time it's like, whoa. Did I use terraforming or a flatten command? I might have to use a different one. Hang on. I don't think I used terraforming. I think I literally used something else, like some kind of a flatten. It's probably a polygon, but I haven't flattened terrain in a little bit. Isn't there some kind of flatten? Is there something I'm missing? Hmm, who knows? All right, let me think about this. Fall off distance is 0. No, I'm sorry, fall off distance is 1. This is 0. Actually, doesn't let me do 0? No, it has to be 1 by default. Why is that? Let's do 10 meters. Okay, it's way more behaved now. I guess this is, for lack of a better phrase, an automatic flatten. But now this looks weird and bumpy. And, and that's not what you want to see when you're looking at taxi surface. Let's increase this to 20. Still bumpy, but better. How about 50? Okay, this is fairly flat now, I think. Of course, the question now becomes, am I going to use this as the general flatten for everybody else? Or is the scenery going to care that I'm now suddenly beginning to use or overlap flattened polygons? I might leave this the way it is and come back to figuring out how to better flatten this area, or just build enough of a ground underneath as like a foundation so that it doesn't matter, it'll still be flat. But that will wind up bringing one end way higher than the other, so I don't know if I'm that interested in fixing the problem. One thing's for sure, the ground is fairly flat here. Let's see how this actually sits on it. Not the hanger, this. Snap it down. Okay, it's still not perfect, but even a simple click and it's done. And that's just me lifting it. Let's bring it down slowly. 42. Oh, excuse me? Lat long altitude. How about, let's see, 100. About 0.66. Okay, so I'm getting a reaction out of that, which is fine. 0.60 and 43. The goal is to get this as close to the ground as possible without triggering anything to show through. Now, vegetation and stuff, that's going to be gone when I pave everything. But at the same time, I don't want that much of a gap to be left. Okay, 42.9 is too strong. 42.95. 42.99. 42.999. Okay, we're almost there, but there's just a touch of bleed through. I think this is close enough to the ground where people aren't going to notice it, so we're going to add one more 9 and see what happens. Bam. And that's about as flat as you're going to get. Unless you have someone that says, hey, wait a minute, this is like a nanometer higher than the ground. I can see the shadow. I think we're fine. I think we're fine. So not a bad placement for the ground. And now I think we can move on. We can start building the walls. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, that's the grass. That'll be gone. That'll be gone. Um, Let me catch my breath for a bit and do a quick build to make sure everything is good. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, I am stretching and building Plymouth Municipal Airport today for MSFS. I have been away for a little while. I've come back to do scenery dev, and I'm going to be going back to work this week. I am honestly thinking about the future and wondering about sustainability of a few things. I mentioned I was coming back from being semi-retired on Twitch, which means that I'm going to try to be consistent again with my Twitch streaming. And if I have to start with just being consistent on Sundays, that's where I'm going to begin. I will probably stream one other time during the week, a day of my choosing. Depends on schedule, depends on prior arrangements. I'll probably either stream a quick stream on a weeknight or maybe a Friday afternoon stream. I haven't decided quite yet, but whatever I decide, I want to try to make it as consistent as possible so that you guys know when something's going to happen and you have a general idea of what's up. Like today, I started earlier than normal, but usually on Sundays, I'm going to try to start between 1830 and 1900 Zulu, which I think translates to 2:30 to 3 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. Um, if I'm not streaming, it's either because I'm in a situation where I can't stream or there are other priorities that I'm taking care of that day. But going forward, it's probably going to be at least once to twice a week, each week. And that'll be a Sunday stream and a weeknight stream. Odds are it's probably going to either be a Monday night or a Tuesday night, maybe a Wednesday night, and then we'll see where we are after that happens. I can say it with honesty. I'm probably going to be able to get Sundays consistent again. I don't know what my weeknights are going to look like in terms of anything going forward. I mean, December is going to be difficult to predict with things that I'm doing, family that I'm spending time with, such like that. But once we once we get to the new year and once I start figuring out what I want to do, I'm probably going to make that the standard. In terms of sims that I'm flying, it's probably going to remain MSFS and X-Plane 12. I'll probably squeak in some P3D streams here and there because I still have it installed and I still like flying it. In terms of technology, it certainly, is behind the other sims for graphical display, if you will. But scenery dev, I'm going to keep working on airports and MSFS. I'm going to start figuring out how to do X-Plane 12 scenery dev. So if I have some time today, I might fire up the World Editor program and then we can take a look at it together on stream. Or if I run out of time today, I'll probably take a look at it off stream and start figuring out how to incorporate it into the stream going forward. All right, folks, I've been streaming for about 43, almost 45 minutes. I'm going to get up, stretch my legs for a little bit, and take a quick break. I will be right back, and then we're going to continue. Put some walls on this hangar, and then start figuring out how I want to design the building so that it opens up the way I want it to. I haven't decided yet whether or not any of these will be animated. I think I'd like them to be, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to figure that out because I want to at least prototype something. No matter how rough, I want to have a building in place here today. Stick around, folks. Be back in just a bit. Okay, folks, thanks for your patience. I have returned. Let's go ahead and continue building this building. I'm going to take a peek at this hangar and just start making visual reference to the height and the way it's set up. Also, I have some pictures from my friend Eric Flight, and I can use those to help me understand the general layout of these hangars, if I can use them or approximate images from a satellite image provider. So let me take a look at my app. I'm going to go on Eric Flight's Discord. I want to see what the buildings look like so I get a general idea of what I'm building. Step by one, folks, just getting myself signed in. All right, so I'm signed in. I'm going to go to the Eric Flight Discord, and I'm going to take a look at the Simming Pics section because I want to see what IRL pics he had for me. Okay. I see one picture. And I'm also going to go ahead and open up an overhead shot because I want to see what it looks like from another angle. It's the airport. Ah, there we go. Plymouth Municipal. Let's open up a satellite. Yeah, it doesn't give me much of an idea as to how it looks, so I think I had another link to actual shots of the hangars, so hang on. Okay, that's one. And if you're curious what I'm looking at, let me show you. Okay, so I am going to be using some of these pics as inspiration for what I'm trying to build. And I think this is what they look like, unless I'm wrong. That's the tree line, so I think this is the northwest side of the airport. I'm looking for the red or white hangars on the west side. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's a video. That's what. Got it. Heh, Learjet. Nice. I think that's the eastern side of the airport, so that doesn't apply yet. That's the kind of U-shaped Alpha 1 section. Come on, give me like one good picture. Nope, I guess that's not happening. Okay, so essentially, I'm going to claim artistic license and I'm going to create a basic design. I'm going to assume that those doors are going to open up by folding. So they're not going to look like what you're seeing for typical default hangar buildings. And that means I have license to design them pretty much however I want to. Again, we're probably not going to have hangar doors that kind of slide open like this. They're going to fold in on themselves. And if you don't know what I mean, let me show you one more time. Essentially, these hangar doors are going to... Oh, I was wrong. There is one that slides open. There's only a few of them that do that. Most of them are going to open up vertically, like you see there. There's a door, but then the whole thing kind of folds up and makes a big upper lip at the top when they're when they're kind of caved in on themselves. So that's the idea. That's what we're going for. Am I going to animate them? I don't know right now, but I am going to go ahead and build those walls. And the walls will be flatter. So let's go ahead and jump into Blender and see what we can do. It's starting to get dry. I might make myself some more hot water or tea in a bit. Okay, what can I do? I'm probably going to create another cube and use that for the wall on one side. All right, so new cube, add a mesh, cube starts over there, and we will get over there so that we can actually move it into position. And it doesn't matter which side I'm going to plant it on because essentially it's going to wind up. We're gonna know where it goes and we'll basically know how to actually position it. I'll put it on the ground and I will stretch the X coordinates until this is where I want it to be. Or I can simply copy that value and then we'll be able to see very well where to place it. And again, it's going to be imperfect. That's fine. I'm not going for utter perfection. This is not what I do for a living. If I was making X number of dollars a year doing this, that would change. Wall thickness, I'm probably going to make 2/10 of a meter. Maybe a little bit less. But I think 2/10 is pretty good. I mean, if you put it in perspective, it's like, you know, you'd have cabling, insulation, stuff like that going through here. 0.1 looks like this. And that could work conceivably, but it's also a little bit, it seems a little bit too skinny. Like, you're not going to be able to stuff a whole bunch of insulation there. Am I worried about it? Not really. And just a little bit off in terms of X placement. Is it? I think it is. I think it's just over a touch here. Yeah, it is. Okay, so what are we doing? Okay, I'm gonna need to actually be surgically precise here. Digi is being ridiculously selective. Hold slow. Okay, now I've got a good angle. All right, let's back up the truck slowly. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. That's close. And then, what is that, 07? Okay, that's going the other way. Don't want that. Give me 37. Okay. 47. How about 67? Oof, that's pretty good. And 77. Okay, all right. I think that's pretty good placement. All right. So, here we go. I'm going to export this, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, precise. Mwah, chef's kiss. Volume control doesn't have a good stop. This is the one that kind of like keeps looping like audible noise. And I kind of like that, but at the same time, it wears a bit. I'm going to skip ahead to the next song. Is that it? Okay. Yeah, I think so. All right. It's going to seem a little quiet for now, but it's going to pick up. Okay. So, we have finished building and exporting this. Let's take this into the sim. And let's go ahead and see what it looks like in the simulator. That would be nice, Digi. Okay, so there we go. That's the beginning of the wall. And clearly it's not even big enough to match it, so I'm not going to bother pulling this over there to take a look. I'm probably going to have to triple the size at minimum, maybe even quadruple it to have the basic wall in place. So let me do that right now. Or I'll do what I've been doing with the other one, which is simply selecting a top segment and then just going for a visual kind of like idea. So 1, 2, 3 ish, and then I'll just move this over to where the other building is, and then we'll go ahead and make a change. But you can't see that right now because I have the Blender window saved. Excuse me, hidden. Exporting. Let's go ahead and copy this into place. Bingo. Now, is this tall enough? I don't think so. Not yet. But I am going to slide this over so that we have an idea of what it looks like. Oh, excuse me. That was the polygon. That wasn't the actual... that wasn't the actual structure. Okay. Not worried about the bottom of this. I just want to see what this looks like up against another building. Um, Not bad for a first time, chat. This section here is probably what I want to put up here. Whether or not I'm going to put, gutters and catches for the buildings, I'm not worried about. I might not make it that detailed right now, but I might start getting in the habit of building even basic gutter catchers and things so that as I get better and better, those details will be built in. It's not too bad, not too bad. We can make it better though. We can stretch it out a little bit more. So, give me a little bit. Select the wall. Okay. We'll save it. Export again. And grab the files. Chat, what do you think I should release Plymouth Municipal Airport for if I release it on Sim Market? What do you think would be a reasonable price? Like 12 bucks, 10 bucks, something around there? I'm thinking about what to release it for. My first one I released for about 6 bucks, which is basically just $1, like €1 over the absolute minimum value you could actually sell something for. No, wait, I think it was like, what was it, €7? Because I think the minimum is 6. But let me know. Sound off in the chat. Yeah. I think $10 might be. I might even go a little bit lower. I'm probably not going to go below. Probably not going to go below 8. Depends on the quality. Depends on the. I'm sorry. Depends on the level of detail. But I'm going to be building. I'm going to be creating significantly more custom buildings and objects than what I did with Whiskey Niner 4. So it'll kind of reflect that in the price point, also the level of detail. So that's what I'm working on right now. Did I save this? Standby 1. Everything's saved. Grab the files. Did I copy them over? Try it again. I think I did. Yeah. So here we are. Can we go a little higher? Should we go a little higher? That's a question. I don't know. I might not want to. I think I'm pretty close to the vertical height for the long wall before the roof and the side wall kind of butts in. So that might actually be good for wall positioning. I'll keep that for now. I might do some tweaks later, but that looks good to me. Don't extort me, but I'll definitely be picking this up no matter what. I hope that the level of detail provided will satisfy you, my friend, because there are some things that I'm going to try to do to make it be worthy of people's time. This is going to be a GA airport. It's going to have custom buildings. I still haven't decided whether I want to make any of the hangars animated or respond to the aircraft in any way. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Given current schedule and IRL requirements, I'm hoping to have this one done by Christmas, but unfortunately I won't be able to guarantee that because of just how little guys, like there's barely 2.5 weeks left of this entire year. Can you believe that? I'm kind of shocked. I am honestly kind of shocked. Okay, let me jump back into Blender for a bit and copy this wall over. No, not that. That's scale. Let me move my viewpoint. We'll take this and we will copy, paste, and move it over. go ahead and zoom in down here and just mess with the, I think that's the X positioning. No, that's the Y positioning. Here we go. Give me a number that elicits a response. That barely did. So give me this. Make that 8. Ooh, that barely moved it. How about that number? That moved it. Great. All right. Now, let's take a closer look. It's just off the lip. I want to move it over further. Give me 4, 0. Oh, we're going the wrong way. Okay, that's too far. That's fine. But what if I did that? Ooh, we're really close. Digi is playing with numbers. All right, slowly. I want to see what this edge looks like. All right, we really got to focus now. Ooh, that's entirely too precise. I need a bigger number. Give me 9, 8. Okay, that's too far. 9, 7. Still too far. 9, 5. Still too far, but we're getting closer. 9, 4. Why is that? Why is that giving me pollution, line pollution? Is it something that I'm missing? Hmm. Can't tell. It's really hard to see, but hold on. Okay, that is the wall that I'm moving. So wait. Oh, okay. I am that close to the wall. Wow. So give me 0.48. All right, back up. 5, 2. Give me 9, 2. Is that what I want? Let's do 8, 2. I think I missed something. Okay, let me take a look at this. I feel like it bled through a little too much. Digi, why are you trying to be so precise? Well, because I am. 7, 2. I think this is probably going to be as close as we get to an absolute perfect drop. And that's fine. That's fine. All right. We've got the other wall built. The surrounding walls are going to clip into each other, and that should hopefully cut on the light pollution bleeding in. I'm still a rookie when it comes to building buildings in Blender, so yeah, that's a thing. We will export, and we'll grab the files. Yeah, this year blew by. This year blew by so fast. So fast. Okay. Now we've got the 2 long walls in place. These are essentially going to be the foundation for the walls, which are going to have the doors, maybe some windows, and the segments of these walls are going to be broken into the pieces where you have hangers that open up. And my friend will be able to tell me whether or not it's going to be realistic. But pretend for a moment this is basically a wall broken into segments with flat walls and then hanger doors, which have doors which open up. These walls will fold into themselves like, like a shape that look more like flattened doors up on top. Again, my apologies. It's hard to explain, but as you see this project getting better and better. You'll see what I mean. Indeed. Okay, so easiest thing to do is to jump back into Blender and finish the outer walls and put a basic roof on, and then we'll have the basic shell for another hanger type. I'm sorry, for this hanger type. So give me a bit. This is where it gets a little tricky, but at the same time, I should be able to grab the Y measurement and apply that to the next cube that I create. So you guys can see what I'm doing. Let's add another cube. Here is the cube. We'll get it to Z1, and then we will be able to set the Y component to 16 and the width to 0.1. Oh, I'm sorry. That should be X. There we go. All right. Let's move this out to the edge. I might shrink this down a little bit. You see this right here? This piece could get me in trouble because this might actually create Z fighting on the outer wall. So let's do this. Since this is centered, or I believe it's centered, let me double check. Is this actually centered? I think this is. That's going to save me a bunch of finagling. Let's do 15.95. And then, if you take a very careful look at the side, you'll see it is inside the material. Let's do 15.99. Do I care? That's fine. And as long as it's in on the other side, I don't care where it winds up. Beautiful. I think that's good. Yeah. Okay. When I start building the materials for these things, I'm probably going to do backface culling so that the sim doesn't have to worry about rendering the textures inside those walls. We're not at the point where we can create scenery where you actually see the the studs and the and the cabling going through the drywall. So I'm not worried about that. That would be a trip though if you got that detail with scenery design. I I don't think companies have the ability to do that just yet. I don't think scenery consumers are going to care about seeing the wires inside a wall. Or I could be wrong. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know. All right. We started, I think, around, what was that, 140? Yeah, like 140-ish, 145 this afternoon. Almost. So we've been streaming for about an hour and 12 minutes. I will build the basic walls and the roof and then place it. And then I might do some fence layouts just to make some progress on that. I will most likely be working on this throughout the week, of course, but I might change it up just to save myself from going a little over focused on this project. Right. How does this work? Down here. Also looks like my placement out here is a little bit off. Ooh, that's pretty close. Wow. All right. So, because I don't need to get all the way out to the edge, I'm not worried about um, the, I think the Y placement. Was it Y? I think it was. I get my coordinates mixed up a lot. So, can I make this? Okay, I get it. That's less, that's more. Okay, let's do 4.88. Okay, that's a bit too much. Still too much. Okay. Let's do 6. Nope. Go for 3. It is touchy. Three's pretty close. All right, let's do 3, 2. Ooh, that's pretty close. Three, 2. 3, 2, about 3, 0. Okay, stop, Digi. Think. What do I want that edge to be flush with it? I am... I'm not 100% sure. Actually, this should be a little bit wider. This whole wall should be. All right, let's play with that. Which one was it? Not you. 15975. How come that went to 16? That's weird. 985. 995. That might be enough for the roofing thing that I'm going to do with this later. So, and we take a look on the other side just to make sure that it's similar. Again, I got to get my placement better so there's not Z fighting going on. But at the same time, if there's a little gap, if there's even a teensy gap at the very edge, I might be okay with that. The problem isn't the gap. The problem is if the textures lay right on top of each other. So let me go ahead and take this for a moment. Okay. Yeah. Let me take this for a moment, save it, and then see what it looks like at the sim. Did the music stop? Yes, it did. Okay. I will probably increase the ambient volume in the sim to compensate. I like playing music, but after a certain point, it's like, okay, we'll take sim sounds. All right. Save that, export it, and we're going to export it, put it right in the sim, and then we'll see what that wall looks like. Here we go. Stand by. 3:12 p.m. Okay. Place it, and blammo. Let's take a look. Okay, actually, so far so good. I don't see any Z fighting whatsoever. That's a trip. Okay. And yeah, it is peeking a bit out the top. That's fine. I'm going to be creating that bow that you see here so that we create a roof with a slant. And then once I do that, I'll move that wall over to the other edge, create a roof structure, and then we'll have the basic building down. And what I might do, just to make it complete, is to create the object and create a weather exclusion polygon inside of it, like what you saw, the green jello in some of my other buildings, so that weather like snow doesn't get into it. Also, I can take this time to click some properties, like I can do no snow on the inside or no snow on it at all. And I think what's going to happen is, oh, that's interesting. Did I not save it? Huh, that's weird. Okay, the whole no snow thing might have triggered something. Let me save it. Always possible that the sim might be getting tired of me saving and exporting too much. And I learned the hard way the one stream. I was like, oh no, I lost everything. Ah! I didn't lose everything. It just didn't want to render. It literally didn't want to render anymore. I had to literally stop Blender, literally stop the sim, load back into the sim, load back into Blender, and do everything so that it actually worked. But stand by. Let me see if I can fix that. It's exported. Grab the files. Hey, hey, Pavlin, welcome back, my friend. Thanks for the 20 bits. Appreciate your support. Welcome. We are trying to render something and all of a sudden it doesn't want to show up anymore, but that's okay. If it doesn't show up, that's fine. There we go. There's the building. I enabled the no snow mode for this building so that when it snows really hard, the inside of it won't have snow on the ground floor or inside the hangar. But I'm pleased with how flush the wall is right now. There's just a teensy bit of overlap, but that's fine. We're going to arc this so that it looks like a proper hangar, and then we'll move on. Where is everyone? Well, we've got we've got some parked cars here that approximate where the satellite images say the cars are. But I am not on VATSIM right now where I have the live traffic option turned on, but I don't have multiplayer turned on so that I can just kind of focus on this and maybe occasionally hear an AI generated aircraft go by. But this is good. I'm happy. I'll hit the build all button so that everything is incorporated into the sim as it exists right now. And then I'll probably play around with the height, create a very basic roof, and then call the prototype phase 1 complete. So, oh, thank you, my friend. Well, I mean, things are sometimes more captivating or more enjoyable for certain people. Like if they like watching racing or PUBG or uh, you know somebody flying an actual flight. I'm doing scenery dev, so hey, more power to people if they want to find something that interests them more. This is something I'm going to continue to do anyway. So let me go ahead and did I have it? Yeah, camera set for Blender. Let's pick this wall and let's split this top part right here. This is going to create a break down the middle, and that's fine. That's what I want. So Control R is the loop cut. I pretty much run it right down the middle, so that's fine. What I want is to pick this specific segment right here. But why, Digi? Why? Because this. That's why. Okay, now we're going to move this back right next to that building so that we can test it. You can't see what I'm doing, but I can. And I just want visual confirmation that this actually looks good. It's pretty close to the current default hangar building, and that's what I'm going to base it on. And we will see. Okay, so let me save this. Export. Copy the files. Hide Blender. The process does take time, so I definitely appreciate my friends being here to support and encourage. And if I can pass along some wisdom to you folks to help you get started creating scenery, I'm even more blessed because of it. In terms of the slope for the hangar, it seems just a touch aggressive, but for the sake of today, I'm going to say that's pretty good. That's almost exactly the same, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to mark that done, and we're going to go ahead and copy that and move it over. So literally, we're taking this same wall, we're going to copy it, we're going to paste it, and we're going to move it down. Oh wait, I moved the wrong wall. Ha! Remember, you have to be careful which one you choose, otherwise you're going to move a different wall than you expect to move in the game. I'm sorry, in the 3D program. Okay, move that into place, and before I continue, let me take a look at the first wall and see whether or not it's actually placed where it's supposed to go. Okay, it is just a touch off. Do I want to worry about that? Well, if I can get the positioning fixed now, then I won't have to think about it later. So, let's start with some really big numbers. Okay, that's the direction I want to go. A higher negative count. So, let's do 946. Okay, probably more like 948. Attention to detail is either something that you strive for or something that really is going to irritate you. I won't lie. It's difficult. It is very difficult sometimes to find a spot at which you can say, okay, this is good enough. In terms of placement, this is pretty good. I wonder why there's this square here. Oh, you want to know why? Maybe it's because it's a little too close to it. I didn't see any Z fighting, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. And this is actually almost perfect. Almost perfect. Let's get it even closer. Let's see, what's the number? So 9. Let's do 99534. Oh my. I think I hit it on the nail. Let's see. Wow. Oh, no, wait. I went just a touch too far. But wait, how did that happen? Ooh. Wait, why is this way? Is this thing actually angled? No. It shouldn't be. This should be this should be the same position on either side. Oh, wait. Hold on. Is it the same on this side? Yeah, it's the same thing. But guess what? Not going to care about this too much because there's going to be an overhang from the roof. So I'm not worried about this being too much. The flooring placement is just about perfect. And I'm sorry for moving around so much, folks. I apologize. I'll try to make my movements more fluid. But this is pretty good. We can start getting more precise with this side now. I mean, okay. Get down to ground level. Get really close to the edge here. And we'll start messing around with this. So give me a nice big number, like 0.4. Okay, that's too much, which means positive x is what we're going for here. Oh, wait a minute. What are we doing? It's this wall, right? It is this wall. Good. All right, let me get down to this edge, like we did last time. Yeah. Okay, that's why, because it's way closer than I thought. Let's do 1-0. Oop, too far. So 993. About 1003. And now we just start adding numbers slowly. Slowly. Is it possible to get over precise? I'd say it's entirely possible. But there, I can see just enough. I'm not going to be able to get much closer. I can see just enough. Let's do 8. Wow, that's really close. Let's do 6. All right. Are we that good? This might actually work. All right. So we've got this set in both places. We literally translated it across to this wall, and we just made it more flush with this end section. So now I think I can probably start labeling these polygons, because these walls are probably not going to be going anywhere. So let me think. First thing I'm going to do is save everything, if I can. I don't want my sim or this to crash, but I'm happy that I've been saving as I've been going, because the anguish of losing everything sucks. I don't want to get to that point. Lord willing, I won't. We have exported the walls. We're going to see what they look like in the sim right now as soon as I copy. And I'm going to hide Blender so you guys can see that as well. We've got the files copied. Let's paste them in. And blammo. All right. So here we go. It's literally just a prototype, so this is not a, like rivet for rivet example here, but it's the same wall, and now I can put a roof texture on top, roof polygon, excuse me, and call it done. So that's pretty good, pretty good. One more thing, we're going to add the roof. But before we do that, let's take a few moments to address each section. We're going to say hangar base floor. We're going to say, wait, what wall was that? Let's see. This is the wall that we were just taking a look at just now. Yeah. So I believe the wall that I'm looking at right now is the... Does it matter whether it's a north or south wall? No, it doesn't matter. So we're going to start saying this. We're going to say hangar wall 1, wall 2, hangar wall 3, hangar wall 4. Now we've got all these named. We're going to create a roof one now, so that means we're going to make one more cube, flatten it, get the dimensions down, place it on top, and then we're going to create a basic arc to it, not arc, but a split to it, drape it on top, make sure the roof kind of cuts into these polygons so there's no place where light can get out, and then that should be it, other than creating the jello required to actually prevent weather from getting in here. Because clearly, even if the roof was here, if it rained or snowed, everything will get inside. So let's create that cube now. Bam. There's the cube. And let's put that into position. Right about here. We'll take the dimensions. Okay. We'll call this hangar roof or roof. Hangar roof. And vertical height. Actually, we're not going to use vertical height because we need to basically... Oh, excuse me. Wrong thing. The blue one's the vertical one. And we want... What do we want for thickness? We want something thicker than that. So we're going to use... I think we're going to use 0.107 for thickness. Oh, well, that's not what I want. That's funny. That's definitely not what I want. I want U, and we're going to apply that to the Z complement. And now we have a nice flat, but at the same time fairly solid slab that we're going to use for the roof. And you can see it's poking out a little bit here. That's fine. I almost want it to be a little bit wider than 16 so that I have overhang. So we'll do 0.05, and maybe instead of 0.05 we'll do 0.075. That might actually work. Okay. Move this up a touch, and if it sticks into it, that's actually okay by me. Why? Because when I bend this up, I want it to kind of stay attached or cutting into the wall. You'll see what I mean. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and split this. Not you, you. We will use the top and kind of using a virtual power saw, we're going to loop cut right down the middle, leave it exactly where it is. And here's the thing. I want this to be, let's see. We'll save the X coordinate so that when I actually finish manipulating it, it'll go right back to where I want it. All right. If you were paying attention, give yourself 5 points if you thought I was going to bring it back here so I could match it against the current arc. We will take, actually I want to take all of the polygon lines because I want to move this as one unit. And that should do it. And if I did this correctly, it should actually match right where this arc is. Bam. And boop. There we go. Okay, so now we have a roof, or at least the beginnings of one. And we're going to put this back where it was before. Remember, I saved that position for a reason, or I hope I did. Boop. Move it back. That's where I want it to stay. And now we have a roof which is going to go over all the things. So, what do we want? We want it to cover the actual hangar in its entirety. All right. I can do it this way, which is kind of fun. Or I can simply take the dimensions from the floor and apply them literally to this. Bam. And I move it into place. Let's get the X positioning for the floor. 0, 0, and 1. Where are you? You're a 2-9er. That's a little weird, but whatever. It's not going to be a perfect overlap for now. I think the other side is missing a piece, so let's go ahead and fix that first. Okay, so this needs to move over a little bit more. Do I want to make the X be more? I think I do. But hold on. If it's not perfect on either side, that's fine, because I'm going to stretch this out. Also, it's almost perfect, so we'll leave this here, and I'm not going to be a... No, not you. I'm not going to be a real hog for attention here. I'll probably just pull those polygons out. Okay. So yeah, it's just a little bit still on the lip of this. So we'll take this, and we will take this, and we will pull it out just a bit. Because there's not that much overhang on the sides. But there is on the edges. And that might actually be good enough, friends. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that gladly. Well, air flyer, I used to spend a lot of time measuring, and I think to a point it is still required if you have the ability to get precise measurements for things like buildings. However, I don't know anyone who was an architect for this hangar, and I'm guessing like 99.275 something percent of flight sim pilots are probably not going to care if the hangars are like a touch off scale or not looking precisely how they're supposed to look. So within that playground, I can use artistic license and say, okay, we're going to approximate this. Now, if I'm creating, interior furniture like I did for the one building I was working on, and I can get the dimensions for a shelf or a desk or a coffee mug, then yeah, and we can use that to help us stay within scale when we're building other things. So we don't have to spend time measuring everything, but taking time to measure as much stuff as you can is going to help you maintain scale. I'm using another building to help me maintain scale based on what I've seen in the Sims so far. That's just me. So select everything. We're going to export. We're going to export them again. We're going to copy these things over. And we'll dump it in here. Dump it to Crumpet. And ladies and gentlemen, you now have a hangar in Musfus. There you are. Now, don't mind the flooring. It's just because it's right next to this building. But in terms of dimension and scale, it's pretty close. Boop. Control Z back. Control Z spoken here. And now, inside the flattened area, you have a building with a usable interior. In the future, or this week, I'm hoping, I will break these walls into pieces so that you'll have flattened sections of walls and sections where the hangar doors are either opened or very visible. There you are. Now, we're not done with this prototype because we still need to do something. We need to prevent rain or snow from getting in here. So what we need to do is add what I like to call the weather jello to the building. And it is a MSFS Blender to MSFS toolkit option, which you will see shortly. Let's go inside here and prep for doing the things. Now, what can I do? What can I do? I think I have to add. Oh, I know what I have to do. I have to add a cube. And that cube is going to have the essence of the dimensions, which is going to allow me to exclude weather from inside this building. So here's how it works. We're going to hide the roof. We're going to bring this cube in. Possibly to the midsection, but again, not worried about it. Here's what we'll do. We will take the length, use that for the cube. We will take the width, use that for the cube. And we will take the height based off of the height value used here Use that for the cube. Put that at position 1. And then dimensions. Bam. Okay. Now, did I do this correctly? I don't know. However, here's what we're going to do. This is going to be more of a rough approximation. And I think if it's properly grounded, I'm not going to worry about it. See what I mean when I talk about something called Z-fighting? The textures will be going nuts at this point. However, fortunately, the vast majority of flight sim pilots are not going to be looking at the floor. You will have a very hard time looking at the floor of this from underneath it. So, I'm not worried about this right this instant, especially since this is going to be an invisible material anyway. What we're going to do is we're going to stretch this face up to the top, and we'll call this hanger weather exclusion poly. We're going to take this piece, just this particular piece, and bring it all the way up to the top. Boop. All right, right where it goes nuts right there is where we're going to go ahead and cap it. And then we're going to split this down the middle like we normally do. Oh, excuse me, actually, I'm doing something wrong. Clearly. All right. Control R. There is that loop cut. Why are we doing that? Because we want that loop cut to be in position to match what we have for the roof. All right. Now we're going to grab that line, and we're not going to worry about the inside or any other lines. We're going to bring this pretty much to where we have it. Now, unlike the other things I was doing, if it's not a perfect fit, it's fine. In fact, I almost don't want it to be a perfect fit because of one basic realization. We've hidden the roof polygon, and that's going to be basically inside of it. So this is going to be a new material, and we're going to add a new material here called, do we have two materials? No, we had this. We have hanger weather exclusion, and we're going to go to the materials, and we're going to choose, where is it? Environment occluder. So essentially, it's an invisible tub of jello which is dumped into the interior of your custom asset, which prevents weather from getting in. Now, it's not going to be absolutely perfect. You might still have rain going through your polygon, but at the same time, don't stress it too much. So, what we will do is go back to a very basic thing here and do something like 15.975. So you'll still have rain and snow hitting the outer edges of your building. And like I said, this is a whole tub of jello, which is going to prevent weather from getting in. We can now bring the hanger roof back in, and bam. This also shows me, ooh, wait, hold on. This also shows me that this exclusion polygon is still a bit too high up. So bring that down. There we go. See? We'll keep the jello inside the building. Jelly-filled building like a jelly-filled donut. How about that? That's fine. That's fine and dandy. We've saved it. And now we can go ahead and export it. And now you'll see what I mean. This is where it starts to get fun. We've built the basic shape. We've added the weather occlusion. Now we place it in the sim. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to select everything. Oopsie. Let me try it again. Export. We're going to go ahead and paste it again. That should make everything appear. Okay, great. So now I think we should be able to have the weather hit the outside of the building, but not the inside. So here goes. Now, inside the sim, we're going to do this. We're going to force some rain to come through. We'll have fun with some rain. And we will pick rain. As you can clearly see, it's raining outside. But it's not raining inside. This texturing problem I have to figure out how to change. But that might just be a case of making the roof thicker so that it doesn't let more light in. But outside it's raining, inside it's not. And that's the environment occluder at work. It keeps weather from getting inside. And to test that some more, we're going to go ahead and pick snow this time. And there we go. Also, another chance to show you. Basically, you can choose to exclude snow, an extra level of detail, like, somebody just showed up at a hangar, for example. That's just for funsies. Now, if we did no snow on the inside of this, I think the top would be covered and the floor would be covered in snow. I don't know if the floor would be covered in snow with the occluder. I think it still would, but now you know what the difference is when you actually choose no snow for something versus snow. I think I'm messing with it a bit too much now, but that's okay. In the sim, it will look different. Yeah, it might have something to do with either a setting in my sim now or the fact that I've been messing around with stuff too much. It gets a little finicky, I guess you could say, but it's okay. I'm not worried about it right now. I understand how it works. But back to basics here. We have created a building, imported it into the sim, added a basic exclusion layer, and it exists. What I can do now is start working on creating the splits inside for the doors. And what we can probably even do, just to start playing around with our imaginations, stick a stock Cessna Skyhawk inside and see whether or not we will have enough room for like 2 or 3 or 4 of them. So let's do that. While it's snowing like what outside, let's go inside our nice, hopefully toasty hangar. And sorry for the flickering, folks. I really wish I could figure out a better way to make this work. But let's just go back to stock weather. And we're going to go ahead and stick an airplane in here. So it's a sim object, and we are going to close everything up. And I think now I can just pick let's see, Something appropriate, not a 736. uh, a DC-3? No, too big. Too big. Give me a preview. Oh, no, 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 not a goose. Too big. Ooh, a Hercules? Is it visible? No, that's not a Hercules. It's a Grumman goose. Oh, no, 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 no. I was thinking a C-130, but they don't have that. Okay, we'll tell you what. Let's see if we can make room for a chopper in here. That's not too bad. That's not too bad, but it's still kind of not appropriate. Let's just take a stock C-172, and we'll take a Kenmore livery, and we will put it here, and then I'm going to play with that, and we will move it around. Okay, so the goal of the story here is to create something so that I can get an idea of how much room I'm going to have or should have in each hangar. That's the wall right there. And remember, on one side or the other, these hangar doors are actually going to open up and fold into themselves. So I am trying to create enough room or the illusion of room so that I can understand how much room is going to be required. And I think what I'm going to do is this. I think I'm going to... Hey, wait, where is this actually? Well, let's figure it out. We're going to move it into... Yeah, let's just put it in West Hangar Assets for now. Okay, great. Let's duplicate this a good 2 or 3 times, and we'll see whether or not it works. This is a big hangar, but we also need, I think, a little bit of space in between these because I'm going to be putting up walls and making, teeny tiny places for desks, maybe an office or two. Yeah, the Hercules is the huge one. Yeah. So yeah, that's not going to fit. Clearly. Let's duplicate this and move it out of the way. Oh, excuse me. We'll move that. Okay, so easiest thing for me to do is to put this one on the edge. Get an idea. And move one more down. I want like 3 of them. Okay, so it sinks into the floor just a touch, but I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. The materials for the building polygon right now are very basic. I don't have any texturing on them. I don't have any special transformations, so I'm not worried about reflections. We'll take care of making it look like a hangar a little bit without too much playing around. I think this is reasonable. You can probably stick, I don't know, 4 planes in here, but we're going to have enough room for people to be able to stick fairly small to maybe medium-sized aircraft in each hangar bay. And you might have like a teensy tiny closet or room for each particular hangar. I'll check with my friends to see, my friend Eric Flight, to see what these things actually look like on the inside. But for now, this is a basic prototype. As it stands, I think each of them should probably open up a certain way. What am I trying to say? Let me actually hide this. I'll hide the building so I can see what it is that I'm actually, how it is I'm actually putting them in. Okay. How close did I get to bang on? That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I can probably move it over, move this one over a little bit. And essentially what's going to happen is you're going to have maybe 2 or 3 feet on each side of the wingtips, and like little spaces or crawl spaces or little teensy tiny offices in between, either up front or in the back, because I don't think the hangar doors are going to open on both sides. So I think 3 for these is probably going to be more than enough for small to maybe slightly mid-size, small or larger. I don't think you're going to be able to put in more than 4 planes. You're certainly not going to be able to put 5. I don't think so. So essentially, this is what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be adding way more detail to these going forward. And let me think. Do I want to save what I have? Yes. Yes, I do. I'm going to save. I'm going to build again. And then we're going to determine what it is we're going to do next. I think at this point I've been streaming for like 2 hours, 15 minutes. So I'm going to call the custom asset phase of this stream done. And I'm going to do a little bit of work on the outside. I had some custom signs here. They went away. Don't worry, they're not gone. It's just that with me rendering that custom building, I saved it and rendered it, saved it and rendered it so many times that these things happen. It's just a natural cause of trying to get this stuff rendered. So I'm going to add some more fencing and then figure out where the fence should go for these areas. And then I might call it a stream. Hopefully everybody is doing very well this afternoon. Let me get up and stretch my footsies for a bit. This has been a very interesting and cool project. This is kind of like a logical progression from my first payware scenery. Give me a bit to stretch my legs for a bit, folks. I'll be right back, less time than before, and then we'll start putting some fence down and maybe chatting a bit more, and then I'm going to figure out what else I'm going to do today. Stand by. Okay, folks, I have returned. My apologies for the delay. Thank you for sticking around. Air Emmerich, my friend, good afternoon to you. I am doing well. I got back from a trip with family last week. Had lots of fun, lots of sun, lots of good food. Very grateful for the break. It gave me a chance to kind of reset my compass, if you will, for scenery development and a few other things that I wanted to do. And I am back now. And we are in process of, well, I am in process of trying to figure out what the rest of this year is going to look like. There's not that much left to this year. Literally, like 2.5 weeks and we're done. But in terms of what I want to do, I am going to focus exclusively on finishing this airport. If I can prototype like 2 or 3 other basic hangars and create some basic offices for the schools that are here, create places and place some stock or not so stock assets for, repair stations, I can finish it or try to finish it by Christmas. I would definitely like to be done with phase one for KPYM. And depending on how much details in this airport, I'll release it for somewhere between $8 to $10 or maybe 9 to 11 euros on Sim Market. Hopefully, it will be worth the price. Now, in case you guys haven't seen some of the work that I've done to this, I added some custom signs to this fence right here, but they disappeared. And it's just the thing that happens when you manipulate objects too much in the sim. Like when I'm building like I am, it makes stuff go a little bit nutso, so it's gone. However, I'll take a few moments to see if I can find my custom. Oh, look at that. It's still there, but for some reason, like I said, when I was working on building the extra building, it doesn't show up. I might just have to load back into the sim and you guys can see the fuel, the avgas section. There's something that I put here, but I'm working on that. Eventually, I'm going to work on creating the custom terminal that's here. I've already done work for the hangar and laid out most of the taxiways and taxiway lights. I think all the taxiways have lights or have taxiway markers with taxi lights on them. At some point, I would like to get in the habit of making taxiway lines that have the black backing on them. I would like to do that soon, and it will be even better for me to do that with this airport going forward. But I guess I'm trying to figure out how to do that more efficiently than right now. What I could do is replace the texture material so that I can actually make the backing appear instead of actually having to redo all these by hand, which would be annoying. But I'm trying to have this done by the end of this year, or if not, no later than mid-January, and then we'll be in a good spot to start jumping into other projects. But yeah, I have been busy. I have been busy. Thank you, Airflyer. Used to do music composition streams before nobody was watching because most people were not able to understand it. That's right, you were talking about your music composition stuff. Let me know when you have some material up on your channel, if not already, and I can check out your YouTube channel, Pavlin. Iraq FX, hello, my friend. Good afternoon. Very good to see you. We are deep into some scenery dev today for MSFS. Took a sip of some extremely hot water. Good. I wanted to kind of get my throat nice and not dry. My plans for this airport: finish it ASAP. Replace all of the stock hangars with custom ones, or as many as I can. I will most likely create a custom hangar for the Massachusetts State Police hangar, which is supposed to be here, I think. I think it's I think it's this building or this building. I think it's what it is. It's one of these two hangars, and we do have helipad markings, but you can't start in a helipad based on this version of the SDK. I will figure out how to do that one day if the SDK allows me to. We're going to be replacing, I would say, at least 50 to 75% of these stock buildings with custom equivalents. We're going to have a custom building for this, custom buildings actually, and then of course we'll have the custom terminal. Those hangars will be replaced as well. And one thing I also did was I built an extension to the hangar, I'm sorry, to the taxiway, so it loops all the way back here. And I built the runway textures by using a combination of materials. See the difference here between the custom materials used? It's basically the same in real life. But that's what I've been working on. I believe it either will be soon or it is, and I just need to update my SDK. However, I do not want to update my SDK while I'm working on the airport right now because I don't want to lose the work that I've done. I Something makes me think that won't happen, but I do not want to take that chance. And I'd rather release that as an update for the airport going forward or save that project for a new airport. Because once I finish working on a KPYM, the next airport is going to be the next SDK update. And at that point, if I update to, from 0.17 to, 0.22, and there's a release note that says, oh, breaking changes, you can't edit old airports with this, then it's going to be like, okay, that's a bummer. That sucks. But at least I will be able to start over instead of being like, oh, I'm almost done. Let me update. I've lost like 2 months worth of work. It's like, no, I want to save myself the trouble. But today we created a custom hangar which has weather exclusion, and I added some stock assets just to see how we're going to plan to use the interior of it. We're probably going to have one side of each hangar bay where you're going to have like a vertical shelf that goes all the way up to the top or close to it. We're going to have roof supports. I'm going to try to make the wall textures more solid so that not as much light gets in. But the good news is, so far at least, I'm not getting bleed through in the walls or on the floor. Maybe here actually, so I need to fix that. But if I can fix that, then I can get rid of the bleed through of light, and then I can make this look even better. In some ways, I also kind of like this too, but I'm going to have some lights inside here as well. Make it look nice and cluttered, nice and dirty, maybe some custom textures, like I said, roof supports, and the hangar doors that will either be opened or might even be animated. Yes, yes, I am actually. I'll show you. This is my work in Blender. We'll go back to basically the material, not non-material mode. This is the prototype for the hangar itself. Just a little bit of work so far. You can see a little bit of a lip in terms of the overhang. Technically, I could add some more materials, not materials, some more polygons to show, drainage. And then inside we have a literal interior waiting to be built. I will most likely separate each of the hangar bays so that you can actually see inside the thing. Hey, this is a section just for one plane, just for one plane, and maybe even have an office in between the two interior walls. But that's something I have to do. Let me think. Yeah, let me lay some fence down and figure out what I want to do for our next stream before I duck out. I'm probably going to wrap up in the next like 15, 20 minutes, but I do want to do a little bit of work so that my fence is better. I'm using stock fence. I'm debating whether or not to create my own fence going forward so that I can actually have more custom looking airports. But this is probably not something that people are going to notice except where there isn't any fence at all, which is why I want to actually add fence. This is probably a good enough fence for now. If I was creating a replacement for, like, say, Philadelphia, JFK, you'd probably have fence with barbed wire on top. But this, I think, is good enough for GA representation. Let me go ahead and find the scenery object. We're looking for fence grilling 4B. Just so you folks get an idea for how I place them. I do place the fence by hand. There's no utility that I know of yet that lets you lay out fence by kind of drawing. So, is what it is. But fortunately, it's not that hard to do. Like I said, it's just tedious. So, we take this, we get the for lack of a better phrase, the heading, and then we place it where we think it's going to do the most good. There are large, medium, and small fence pieces. And depending on how detailed you want to get, you can either approximate their position or you can really take time and, like, nail it down. The simulator will raise and lower fence depending on the curvature of the airport, like the actual terrain itself. You can see an example of that in my Canadian scenery release. I think it's Charlie Zulu Victor Lima for Edmonton Villeneuve GA Airport, an airport which, by the way, actually used to be used by a Canadian airline when they were flying, I think, 737 200s or 300s. If you're curious, or if you'd like to see some of the earlier airports that I've done on flightsim.to, I will give you a link to my profile. I only have 3 freeware airports there. I might make some more, but this is for your entertainment. And if you're curious about the airport that I released on Sim Market, it is Camp Peary Landing Strip. It's available. It's literally €6. It's a small little airport, my very first one. You're welcome to take a look at it. And there you go. Okay, so fix this fence, add a few more, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with the rest of the evening. Because as much as I want to stay on vacation forever, that's not possible. You do eventually have to go back to work. And that's okay. That's okay. So, we'll do a little placement here, like we did before. We will... Oh, I can't do that. I have to actually get the heading coordinates for this again. Paste. Position it. And that's actually not bad. Okay, it is just a touch off. Stand by. While it is possible, in theory, to copy multiple pieces of fence, what starts happening is once you start grabbing 2, 3, 4 pieces of fence at a time and placing them, it gets progressively harder to lay all of them out where you want them to be. So you kind of have to decide, are you going to create custom fence? Are you going to overlay fence pieces on top of each other? Or are you going to use the fences to the best of your ability and just kind of mess around with ground textures to cover up any shortcomings in layouts? I do I do a mix of of the last two. I haven't created a custom fence yet, but I probably will at some point going forward. So let me go ahead and make, can I use can I use oh, there's only middle and little. Okay. Okay. So the reason why I was also being persnickety about heading is because I want the fence to be laid out a specific way. So if you see, if you're paying attention here, I want this side to face out. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate it, and then we're going to go ahead and position it. If you're moving the fence around, don't worry about getting it right the first time. You won't. Or if you do, that's fantastic, and you're better than me, which I tip my hat to. What I'm going to do is just take a quick look and just do a very rough rotation so that it matches the way the satellite imagery makes it look. That's pretty good. You can also what's the word I'm looking for? You can change the numbers by hand if you're not satisfied. But in terms of fence layout, I generally don't go that overboard unless I'm doing something, or I'm going to be doing something like, uh, uh, New York City, or like LaGuardia, or like JFK. Then you're probably going to want to pay attention to some more details and make it look really good. Actually, I don't know. Let's find out. I'm pretty sure the chain links are 2D, and I think they're like PBR textures, but the actual fence posts are 3D. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're 2D. 3D posts, 2D fencing, or 2D chain, 2D chains, two-dimensional. So, and I gotta tell you, for default fence, I'm not gonna complain. I am not that focused on making custom fence, and when I start creating X-Plane 12 scenery, I am probably going to use the default fence there as well, unless there's an extremely good reason to replace it, like if I'm going to be creating a fence gate, for example. Okay, now I think this line here designates fence. So I'm probably going to use another medium and maybe a little fence to get to this point. But that's probably going to be something I do off stream this week. So I'll save this, add another fence, change the heading, move it over, and then we're going to see how close we are to where we need to be. All right, am I good? No. Let's fix that. That's pretty good. So I'm not going to have room to create another medium thingy. And I'm probably going to cut across the fence line. Actually, I might make a... No, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not going to worry about the fence layout. I'm going to cut straight from here across the road, and then I'll take that fence line either along the side of the road here and back out. That's what I'm going to do. The fence is going to go to about here, and then I might even create a custom building for that. I might. I might. I probably will. It might not be that detailed. As a matter of fact, I probably shouldn't make it too detailed, but it is going to be another custom building. And then the fence is going to go all the way up to here, probably to here, and then basically by this building, by this tree line, I'll probably bring the fence around and then by the taxiway around the backside of the airport. It's going to be involved. It's going to take some time. No lie, but it's something I look forward to completing for my friend Eric Flight. The pivot from world to local. Okay, enjoy your approach into Portland Airflyer. Let me do this. Let's see. Can I change it? Translate? Okay, let's try local, like you said. Dude, you just saved me a bunch of time. Wow. Thanks for the recommendation, friend. Okay. Well, I just learned something today. That's fantastic. Dude, the headaches that you're going to save me later. That rocks. Folks, it's about 4:30. I started at about 1:45. Normally, if I'm like flying or if I am doing like adventure flights or whatever you want to call them, I'm going to go into like 5:30, maybe even 6 o'clock to get to a particular destination. I think I've achieved what it was that I was looking to do today. We've got a custom hangar building. We put some fence down. We talked about what's going to happen going forward. I think, honestly, I'm going to be streaming once or twice a week going forward, unless circumstances dictate otherwise. Expect a stream break on Christmas. Seriously, Americ, thank you so much. What's probably going to happen is I'm not going to stream on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, spend time with family, but I am going to stream on, probably going to stream on Boxing Day on the 26th. And then it's probable that I'm not going to stream New Year's weekend unless I am not that tired and we're just chilling out. I suspect we're probably going to have some family time on January 1, so I might just take that weekend off and then figure out what the rest of the schedule is going to look like. Now, again, I'm going to be focused on finishing Plymouth Municipal. I'm mostly focused on getting the custom assets built first because I think what's going to happen is once I get these buildings rendered, and I'm only going for like 3 or 4 basic hangar types, I'm going to use this type to render these buildings, maybe create a subtype just for this slightly longer one, and then we're going to have a couple of basic hangar types for here. These hangars over here, they're going to be airplane hangars, plus you're going to have a aviation school on this side. I've already changed where the default beacon is. So plan on me creating 3 or 4 hangar custom hangar prototypes so you can actually pull into a hangar. I think 1 or 2 of them, at least 1 or 2 of them will be open. And again, we're probably going to have custom buildings for the Mass State Police helicopter hangar, and definitely for the terminal, definitely for the flight schools, and All these things are here for you to use for any start position you're looking for, short of the start position right next to the helipad. You can take it if you want. Of course, if a helicopter is taking off, it's at your own risk. So I need to finish the custom asset rendering first. After I do that, I can get rid of the rest of it. The only exception I'm going to make is probably building the fencing around the airport, because it's going to take a while, and then that should clear it. Okay, so standby one chat. Let me take a look and see what Twitch is doing right now. All right, so who do we have at the moment? I'm just taking a look here. I'm going to, let's see, what tab am I looking at? Oh, this tab has no audio. So I'm going to take a look. We have, oh, this default sort is never the way I want it from the start, ever since they changed it. But it's okay. Aviator Chris, Iron Condor Simulations. We have two cats. We have 757 Spy. London Controller is on. 514 viewers. Wow. And looks like Fly AAVA is doing virtual flights, either for American or for somebody else. Who do I want to raid? Who do I want to raid? Let me... Who do I want to raid, actually? Good question. Let me see what my friend's up to here. Oh, I have to wait for this ad to be done. It's taking too long. That's fine. I don't know. I know Iron Condor has been streaming for a while, so I'm not sure if he's wrapping up. And I always like sending people to people that don't actually have a lot of folks that are viewing them, or that we might not otherwise spend time with. So I tell you what, I'm going to pay it forward one more time. I think we're going to go see either Captain Custard or Nick Gressla. Let me see if Nick is flying GA or a tube liner. Ooh. Allegiant. Tulsa to Vegas. I think we're... Ooh, he's just starting. Okay. Folks, sit tight. We're going to go ahead and raid Nick Gressla and call this a stream. Oh, yeah. No worries. No worries. We're going to go say hi to Nick Gressla. Nick is, I believe, an aspiring pilot. He might actually be trying to get, I don't know, commercial, or at the very least, get an instrument rating very soon. So, let's go ahead and set up the raid now. Folks, thank you again for spending time with me this afternoon. I appreciate you stopping in, saying hello to those people that lurked. Thank you for the lurk. Appreciate it. And I will most likely either be streaming again Tuesday or Wednesday night, or I will be streaming again, I think, what is it, this coming Sunday? Yeah, most likely. If I do, it's going to be a short stream because I have some other stuff coming up that evening. But folks, until next time, take care. Much love to everybody here. God bless you. Have a great week. I hope to catch up with you in other streams. And like I always like to say, if you want true peace, you need the Prince of Peace, and that's Jesus Christ. Thank you, friends. Take care and have a great rest of your evening. Until next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and I'll take a look at the Discord later, Pavlin. Thank you so much. See ya.